Greetings and welcome, my friends. This is Necromancer Larry. He is Hill, Larry, us. He's bound to be comedy gold. We're kicking things off with a shuffler special. Those aren't really a problem, but the problem here is we have a pair of our fetch lands. That means our first play won't be until our third turn or the opponent's fourth turn since they're going first. And that's not good. Not good at all. Mull. Then we get a shuffler special with one forest. This will be fine. The forest will be what lets us play out cards on schedule. Keep. It was during the testing and playing of this deck that we noticed something going on involving the matchmaker. We hacked into the matrix to give ourselves an advantage that we had only glimpsed before with another deck that also used minimal removals. Using this deck, the matchmaker has been pairing us against decks that have also brought a minimal amount of removals, if any. In these kinds of matchups, the amount of damages this deck can throw at the opponent tilts games in our favor. Most opponents don't even suspect they're nearly dead until we've blasted their life total to ruin. We can bring the pain, and thanks to the matchmaker, opponents usually are not able to snipe our men to prevent the damages we're hitting them with. It's a fantastic hack, but things might change when we hit diamond rank. We'll have to see when we get there. We felt we needed to make you aware of the secret we unlocked, and maybe you can use to your advantage. And now, back to the game. They send Jolene, they'll get a treasure token, and we're not blocking. We're taking the hit. Hit me. Stop fooling around and hit me. They fire off a removal and use it to take out our cub. While it's great to have Cub's ramp on board, it's not critical for our deck. That was a card they should have saved for something else. Put that down as an oopsie-poopsie. We draw a Womanizer on the turn, we play out the Power Wagon. We'll be set up for a fantastic fourth turn. They play out the Quake Mole. He's a big beater, and thanks to the sure shot, he will have haste. They take us down to 2 life. We're at that familiar crossroads once again. It's kill or be killed. We've been here before, and without doubt, we'll be back for more. We draw a fetch land that gives us a chance. Thanks to the tunnel, we can get 3 Womanizer triggers that we can use to pump the power of our station wagon. Let's warp in our Womanizer. Whether or not it stays on board doesn't matter. What does matter is that it can crew the power wagon. Now that the wagon is fired up, we can play our land for those Womanizer triggers we all know and love. We'll pump the wagon with every land that enters, and when you double something 3 times, it does get pretty big. That's GG's Power Wagon cheese. This is Dad 2 Bear. I don't know if I'd want to be a dad to a bear. Isn't that dangerous? We get a 4-lander for this one. We've got a decent curve out starting on turn 2. That's our wagon and Womanizer combo right there. Keep your pants on. We draw another Origins, which is fine. We'll play out a tunnel. From here, we can get to 3 and 4 mana on schedule, which is what we want. It's the end of their turn, and we'll go grab a forest. We already have a land that can provide us a red mana, otherwise we'd grab the Lone Mountain in our deck. We draw a talent, but we'll stick to our plan of firing off an Origins. On top, we have another Ba Sing Se, along with a Self-Destruct. Our combo is just a couple of draws away. We'll keep both cards in that order. They play out an Inspiring Overseer. Looks like dads like to go with angels. It's time for our Power Wagon. We'll decline to search out a land. Sure, we miss out on ramp, but we are still able to get to 4 mana thanks to our Ba Sing Se. We're still on schedule. In fact, someone bring me a shovel. We gotta start digging their grave. They trounce our wagon right out of this game with a Reclamation Sage. Sure, it's only destroyed, but we have no way of getting it back from the grave, so it might as well be gone for good. We don't need the Womanizer on board now, so we'll double spell and go with our talent and the second Origins. On top we have a pair of lands. I think we can afford to keep the tunnel, but let's bin the Verge. All we need is one red, and we have that already. They play out a Helpful Hunter, and this is starting to remind me of a deck I put together. It uses airbending to take advantage of men just like these in Abzan colors. They follow up with an Ankle Biter. I'm definitely not using those. Then they play out another. We'll go with the flashback on one of our Origins. And on top we have a pair of lands. This is too many lands. We'll bin the mountain, and with double fetches in hand, we'll pass on the passage as well. We simply can't afford to draw piles of lands while the opponent keeps dropping men. And then after all that, we still draw a land. Shout out to the shuffler. They play out a Finn, the Death Touch King. All their Death Touch men will now give is a pair of poison counters with every hit. They send it and will block up the most damage. We're not that worried about the poison yet. We'll worry about it on their next attack. They add to their numbers by earthbending a land. Bend it like Beckham, bro. We draw another Power Wagon. This gives us a chance to fight back on our next turn. With the extra mana from the Origins, we can play out the Womanizer and the Power Wagon. Barring any removals, we'll be ready to swing in for lethality. Our Womanizer gets our Esper up to lethality, but they have a blocker, and we're out of mana. If we do send it, they will have to block, but what if they have a second Finn? We simply can't take that chance. We'll hold what we got. We'll give the Womanizer the pump from the talent. That way he at least has Ward to help him survive through their turn. They send it and will block some of these guys up. No, wait, let's do this right. We'll block Finn. To get that poison win, they'll need another, and we'll take down the cat. If they want to airbend, they won't have the cat of draw a card. Our life total goes down to 6, and we're one more Finn hit away from a poisonous death. Someone start digging our grave. Just kidding, we got this. Right now our Power Wagon only has a power of 7, but that's going to change since we'll have 3 lands enter play on our side this turn. It's all over but for the opponent crying. This is one double, then we'll fetch and double again. Another fetch, and we double again. We could swing in and have a 4th land enter play on our side, but this is fine. Fling it for the win. That's GG's opponent, extra cheese. This is Pager. He was replaced by Cell Phone in the late 90s. RIP Pager. We get a 3-lander with another excellent curve out. Our third turn could stumble if we lose our men early, but this will be just fine. Keep your pants on. We draw a tapeworm, which gives us more firepower than the opponent is going to be able to deal with. We'll go with the power wagon this turn. If we can start swinging in with it, we can start taking chunks out of their life. Plus, we can play out the cub on our next turn and still be able to play out our tapeworm. I kid you not. We draw a second Ba Sing Se. We'll play it, then throw down our cub. For purposes, we want to earthbend the forest. To make sure it happens how we'd like, we have to manually tap. And now we play out the tapeworm, and with the team pump, we can crew up the power wagon. They play out a star cage, which does deal with our non-tapeworm men. But what about the power wagon? We draw another cub, and that will be our play. We've got enough mana to earthbend a land and use it to crew up the power wagon. After we crew, we even have enough mana to warp in the fresh maker. He makes everything so much fresher. Let's pump the tapeworm for extra booster fun. Is that what Mark Rosewater meant? That's only 10 damages, bro. You can take it, right? It hurts so good. This is too much for the obsolete pager. GG's. Extra pump cheese. This is the chat experience. Tell me what you want. What you really, really want. We get a 3-lander with a solid opening. We don't have any of our combo pieces, but that's the beauty of this deck. We can smash even without our party poppers. They play out a Scavenger's Talent. I haven't seen one of those in quite some time. Bro, there are cell phones now. You don't have to use a pager. We draw a Womanizer, and this hand is already looking up. We can fire off the Origins to help us find a power wagon, and if we do, pour one out for our opponent. In memory of this dear homie, we barely knew you. They play out a Sephiroth, but they've got nothing to actually sacrifice. This might look weird, but we're going to earthbend our passage. If we made you raise an eyebrow, you're not alone. I don't really want to shuffle away our second Origins. They send it, Clearly, they feel like they're ahead. But our damage output is going to be amplified, and we'll be able to fire back with far more pain than they can deliver. We'll block with our passage, and if we didn't want the card we have on top, we could sacrifice it to fetch out a land. Then we'd get it back thanks to the earthbending ability, and we could fetch out yet another land with the same passage. They fire off a split up to take out our cub. This will slow us down by a turn, but it does nothing to stop our strategy. The question here is, do we fire off the Origins first, or do we use the passage first? If we get cards we want to keep with the Origins, we'll have to delay the passage, so that means we should crack it first, then fire off the Origins. On top we have a second talent and a land. We'll take the land first. That will let us play out our 4 drops while returning fire with our Smelf. We'll just play out the talent, then hold what we got. They hit our talent with a removal. Oopsie poopsie, bro. Should have kept that in your pants. They're going for short-term advantage and not thinking about the long-term consequences. We'll go with the tapeworm this turn. The pump will let us start cracking back for as much damage as they're dishing out. The opponent's number is 1-800 hurt me, and we're gonna dial it up. They play out a snare that will likely be taking out our tapeworm. They can't really afford to let it stay in play. Don't be discouraged, boys. We've still got plays. This turn we'll flash back an Esper. On top we have a Cub and a Fresh Maker, and these will be just fine. We'll keep both, and in that order. The Smelf is the tip of the spear. They play out a Momentum Breaker. That's easy. We'll let go of the Smelf. With a Cub coming up, we'll have more than enough mana to keep making plays. The free mana will be for the Cub. Then we'll be free to play out a 4-drop. But which one? I feel like the Esper will help us more at the moment. On top we have another Cub and a land. We'll bin the land. We want to find a Power Wagon or even another Tapeworm. All they can do is level up their talents, which haven't done a single thing this game. Speaking of Power Wagon, we draw one. We'll play it out this turn and prepare to assault their life total on our next turn. We'll play out the second Cub, and we'll earthbend our mountain for that extra pump action. We've reached lethality, and all they've got is Sephiroth for a blocker. Let's get in there. We knock them down to 1 life. Their game plan has not worked out well at all. They eat their food, but they can't gain enough life, and they don't have enough mill. They fire off a betrayal. We'll choose our mountain to go down, but it will come back ready to power the plays on our next turn. They eat more food, and you can see he is having that experience he's dreamed of. Nice try, but that's GG's. Extra cheese. This is Camilo Tech's younger, less-known brother of Malcolm X. We get a shuffler special with double Cub, a fresh maker, and a Self-Destruct. While this doesn't look combo-centric, it does give us a decent team with mana to be able to play everything we draw. Keep your pants on. We'll play out the talent this turn. That will start getting us pump, and we can send in the tip of the spear. They impending out a black overlord. That's a sign they might be on a reanimator strategy. We'll have to wait and see how things unfold. We'll play out a Cub, then follow up with the second one. That's 9 mana with only a Smelf and 2 lands. They play out an Overseer, another Angel deck maybe? We'll play out the second talent and we'll take it up a level to give our men Ward. We'll fire off our Origins, and that shows us a second Smelf and a land on top. We'll bin the Smelf. It's too late for the tip of the spear. What we need is our bigger men. We can level up our talent, or we can flash back the Origins. Let's go ahead and take the talent up. That will give us double the amount of pump. Then we can send it. I had considered pumping the Smelf or a land, but let's hit them hard right now. It looks like they want to trade with a Smelf or a land, but those aren't attacking, bro. Try again. Try harder. In the end, they just take the hits. Angel players aren't known for blocking well. They play out another Angel. What are the odds they'll use it to block? Place your bets, boys. We'll play out the Fresh Maker, and that will give one of our men a boost when he enters. And our attackers this turn will have trample. All they gotta do now is open up and take a bite of this here knuckle sandwich. We'll use the pump from our talents to boost our smaller men. More booster fun than Mark Rosewater promised. Then we'll get in there. We'll keep our land back to fire off the Self-Destruct in case we need it. That Angel with 1 toughness is looking way too skinny. But we're about to give it a sandwich. A knuckle sandwich. We didn't need the Self-Destruct. That's GG's extra booster fun cheese. This is a Junga. He's already mad and we haven't hit him for 37 damages yet. We get a shuffler special with double talent, a wagon, a tapeworm, and a fresh maker. This is not a good hand, but it's not overly awful either. Keep your hopes up. We'll use our tunnel to fetch out our lone mountain. Might as well be prepared. We'll go with a talent. That's all we really have. They are the first and only person in the universe to play out a Nashi. Props for trying to make that work. We draw an Origins, and it really could save our game. Let's fire it off. And on top, we have a pair of lands. That's all we need to get rolling. We'll keep both, and in that order. They send it, and we'll get to watch Nashi do his magic trick. He's going to pull a rabbit out of his pants. They impending out a black overlord, but we've seen this before. We finally get to 3 mana, and we'll play out the Power Wagon. Luckily, we can decline to fetch out a land and shuffle our deck. The Ba Sing Se is so good it's worth keeping. Nashi hits us again, but we're not worried. We're fixing to fire back and start evening up this score. They play out the well that Nashi got them. I'm not impressed. Which 4-drop should we play out? Any of these would be pretty solid, but let's go with Esper in case they have a removal or two. On top we have a Cub and a Passage. We could use both, more mana, and ramp that gives us a second body. Let's crew up, and we can go in for some damages. We'll fetch out a land, it'll shuffle away the Passage, but our ramp can easily run away with this game with what we have in hand. They hit us with a betrayal. That's why we didn't go with the tapeworm. They tap their blocker. It's always nice when they do that. They impending out another black overlord. That might be one too many. Where are the real men at? We'll warp in the Fresh Maker. He has nobody to pump but himself, which is fine. That will let us crew up. We're already at 6 power. The talent will make it 7, and that's half their life. Let's get in there. Knuckle up, bro. No, wait, your blocker is tapped. Damages, bro, damages. Then we'll fire off Self-Destruct to wipe out what's left of their life total. And that's GG's, extra fiery green cheese. And that, my friends, is another satisfied customer.